What we're going to do in this video is we're going to show you how to get to your ideal goal as an options trader. So what is your overall objective as an options trader? Where do you want to take this? What are you trying to get out of this? Because often in life, we have an overall goal that we want to get to, and we don't really know how we're going to get there. So we jump from thing to thing to thing to thing to thing to try to get to that overall goal. And at the end of the day, we never really get there because we really don't understand what are the steps that we're going to need to get there. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to show you how to plot out the steps that it's going to take to get to your overall goal or the overall result that you desire as an options trader. And this is going to be a really, really good video because once you understand this instruction and you understand this exercise, you can start to apply this in every area of your life. Okay? The first thing we want to really determine is what is our overall goal? So what is the end result that we want as an options trader? What does that perfect situation look like? So let's say hypothetically, you have defined your perfect date or your perfect situation that is going to come as a result of you being successful as an options trader. Once we determine that, right, and we can visualize that, right, we now need to start working on the steps that it's going to take to get there. So what makes this different than just what we would call like a vision board is a vision board kind of deals with end results. What we want to talk about is what are some of the steps that we're going to take to get to where we want. And then as we work this out, I'm going to show you something that's going to be very powerful to how you start to break this down incrementally, right? And you're going to start to hopefully see the bigger picture of how to be successful, right? So let's go ahead and get into this exercise. And this is going to be a really good exercise for traders, right? Aspiring traders that really want to try to understand how to build a system, right? That's going to allow them to be successful. This is bigger than knowing how to trade. This is bigger than understanding the right setup. This is bigger than understanding how to do technical analysis. This is how do you build a system that is going to allow you to get the success that you desire, because we understand that we live in a world that is governed by systems. From the natural world right to the man-made world, it's all governed by systems. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to define, right, that we know what our goal is. So we've already been able to visualize our goal, right, and we know what it is, right, and we can see it in our head. We can visualize it. What makes this different is that most people, right, determine what they want, right, and then they just start doing a lot of random activities to get there because they know what they want, but they don't know how to get there. So they wake up every day and they get involved in a lot of random activities. What we're going to do is show you how to take what you want or what your end result is and how to work backwards, right, to the beginning to determine now this is going to be every step on the journey to get what I want. And what I want you to kind of visualize is that, let's say you're in a garden, right, and you leave the house and you're outside in the garden, and on the other side of the garden is a area, right, in the garden. Let's say it's a patio or something that you want to get to. And to keep you from walking on the grass, somebody has put down stone steps, right? And so they're not the ascending steps, they're the kind of steps that are laid down flat horizontally in the yard. And what you do is you walk on each step to get to that patio on the other side of the yard, because the goal is to not walk on the grass. And that's kind of how I want you to see this particular process, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the goal. Now we know, we know what our goal is. So the next question is, right, what is going to be the next, right, step to get us to our goal? So let's say we determined to get to what we want, right? So let me go ahead and try this text. We know that we have to generate, let's say hypothetically, 5K a month, right? So if we know we got to generate 5K a month, we know that's what we have to do to get what we want. So we know we got to make in 5K a month, and that's going to allow us to get what we want. So that's going to just lay right there. So 5K a month is going to drive us to our goal. So then the question is, what is going to be the next step? So what I want to do really quickly is say, well, how do we know we need 5K a month? We know we got to make a budget. Let's go ahead and make this right here be the budget. And then we'll also put text inside here to make that be the budget. So we know we're going to need a budget, right? So we slide the budget in there. So we know that to determine that we're going to need 5K a month is because we've done our budgeting and we know our money's going, right? So that's going to be kind of off to the side. But our next step on this is going to be, let's say we know as an options trader, we're going to have to do 10 trades a month because we believe that it's going to be 10 successful trades a month that is going to allow us to get what we want. So we go for 10 trades. So let's go ahead and put that in there. So it's going to be 10 trades a month, right? And that's going to allow us to get to the 5K a month, which is going to allow us to get to our goal. So then what is the next step going to be? We're going to need a trading plan because we're going to want to try to understand how to trade, right? And so same thing, put that in here. So that's going to be the next step, which is going to be a trading plan. Okay. So let's go ahead and make that 72. So we'll just put that as TP. So we know we're going to need a trading plan. So now what's going to be our next step? We know we need to be looking at opportunities every day, right? So every day we're going to be researching opportunities, and let's say hypothetically for 2 hours a day. So we know every day we're going to be researching opportunities for 2 hours a day. So then we need to put that right and identify that's what that's going to be. So let's go ahead and set that up. So we'll make that our research. Research for 2 hours a day, right? And then we'll just place that in there, right? So we research for 2 hours a day. So then what is the next step going to be? We need to open up a brokerage account, right? Because we can't trade without a brokerage account. So that's the next step. So let's go ahead and put that in there. Open up an account, place that in there. Now, what's the next step going to be? We're going to have an options course, right? That we're going to understand and we're going to study. So we have an options course that we understand and study. That's going to be the step before that. Okay. That goes right in there. So now we buy in the study with course. And so this essentially is going to be all the steps that we're going to need. Okay. Now you may add some things in here. I think psychology should also be added in here. So we want to figure out where do we add our mindset and our psychology work. Do we want to do that, or do we want to put that on an overall? That's like going to be on an umbrella overall over the whole process is daily psychology work, right? Or do you want to put that inside one of the steps? Now, this is the overall system. So we've got to buy and study a course. We got to open up an account. We got to research for 2 hours a day. We got to create a trading plan. We got to do 10 trades a month. We got to do 5K a month. That's going to be based on our budget. That's going to allow us to get to our goal. So you now know when you wake up in the morning how to be involved in activity that's going to allow you to get here. Now, this is the mistake a lot of people make even after they do this. They have this, and then what they do is they try to multitask all of this at the same time. So I'm going to buy and study the course. I'm going to open the account, and I'm going to do research for 2 hours a day at the same time. Because they really are not convinced in their system. They're just trying to get here to the goal. What you really want to do to be very effective at this, and this is what I would encourage you to do, is say, okay, we want to buy and study the course. We want to open the account. What are the steps in between? Right? Then same thing, we want to open an account, we want to research for 2 hours a day. What are the steps in between? Right? Same thing with research for 2 hours a day, create a trading plan. What are the steps in between? Same thing here. What are the steps in between? What are the steps in between? Right? Same thing with this. What are the steps in between 5K a month on my goal? Then what you do is you take this section and you make a brand new slide. and you say buy and study the course, open the account, what are the steps in between? Open the account, research for 2 hours a day. What are the steps in between? So now you're breaking this down into smaller and smaller segments. So you don't worry about the 5K a month because you're still at buy and study a course and open the account. And until you complete those steps, that isn't even important, right? And so this is the mistake. Being able to build your own systems that are going to allow you to get what you want, and being able to have the discipline to execute it, to evaluate it, to iterate it, to optimize it, is going to make you a very powerful person in this world, because the average person is inside somebody else's system, and they're being held to the standard of somebody else's system, but they don't have their own system to get them what they want. They're in somebody else's system that produces the rewards that they desire, but they don't know how to create their own system to produce the rewards that they want. So I want you to understand the power in understanding how to implement this and being very consistent and disciplined with it. Now you may be asking, well, what software do I use to do this? We talked about before. You can do this with pen and paper, okay? You can do this with a piece of paper and a pen. You don't need any specialized software. You can also do this with any kind of mind mapping software. So you Google mind mapping software. You can use, I think this is Apple Note. You can use PowerPoint. You can use Keynote. There's multiple platforms that you can use to do this, but if you don't have the platform, you do what people did before the computer came about. You just get a piece of pen or a pencil, and you get you a piece of paper, and you just plot it out, right? And then you can break it down into subsystems. So you got your overall system, then you break it down into subsystems, and then you make your subsystem the overall system that you concentrate on at that time. And this is how you're going to get to your overall objective as an options trader. The majority of people only are going to see trading options and the result, and they don't understand all the pieces of the puzzle. And as a result, they're going to spin their wheels. They're not going to be able to get the success that they desire, and then they're going to go to something else trying to get the same result, because they never figured out how to build a system to be successful at what they're doing. So I hope this really added a lot of value to your life. It's something that definitely has worked for me. If you have any questions, reach out to me, hit me up in the comments. You can get more information on the highest paid part-time job in the world in the description. This is David W. Williams, also known as Diamond Dave, and I'll talk to you later.